This is actually not a new reward fund. The fund has been in existence for quite a number of years. From time to time, we do reach out to the media just to put the message out there and to keep it fresh and relevant. Of course, as you know, poaching really takes or robs from every Namibian. It is not a good practice at all. What the ministry has done, we've instituted a hotline or an SMS line that we commonly refer to as the 55555 number. Any community member, especially those community members who are living in and around our national parks, are encouraged to report any suspicious activity. They can do so by sending an SMS or calling the hotline 55555.
Okay, so 5 fives, basically. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Kahuura, then, so what would you say motivated the ministry to get more involved with the local communities and to have them, directly involved in anti-poaching efforts through this cash incentive?
Yes, so typically our local communities live, as I said, in and around our protected areas. Criminals live within those communities, or those who would be criminals who live within those communities, and typically it is really people who are on the ground in and around our protected areas or national parks who would pick up somebody whose movements are either suspicious or have some sort of information that they can relate to the ministry. And it's not just the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism. We are in collaboration with the Namibian police as well.
Okay. Now, especially in smaller areas, you would find that poachers may be, in close proximity of the neighbors, of the relatives. How do you ensure that community members who do come forward with information that they are actually protected?
The system is really based on the element of strict and confidentiality of handling information that comes forth. So anybody who does report any suspicious activity or illegal act that is about to be or to unfold, they would these messages or this communication would be strictly confidentially treated. Typically, so we do provide either a code name or a specific name that is only kept between the person who reports the incident and a specific member of either the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism or NAMPO. So it is not the entire staff members file and rank of NAMPO that deals with this kind of thing. It is specific identified people who would be handling this sensitive bit of information. And the system then takes its own course from there.
Introducing new payout methods and stuff, logistics is obviously going to be a concern for you, and I'm wondering about the complexity of that, especially when you mention timely payouts, and there's been mention of easy wallet payouts within 48 hours. How do you ensure the transparency as well as timely payment in this practice?
So Denver, it's all based on really confidentiality, as I said. When a person does report an incident, of course, there are different criteria that is applied. Either this information would lead to somebody being arrested, or it will lead eventually to successful prosecution. This is really handled in the most strictest manner, and we do have partners that work with us in really making sure that these payouts are, first of all, the information is handled in the most strictest and credible manner, but at the same time to try and ensure that the person who does report and there is some success in the case, a payment is made to him or her using what I said, either a code or a name. Some of this information is really on a need-to-know basis. We have partners through our banking institutions, and these e-wallets or blue wallets or easy wallets are effected in the most strictest but efficient manner.
Okay. Now, I think an interesting observation is that poaching seems to increase during winter. Are there other patterns or intelligence that you have observed throughout the year, standout highlights, and particularly that make the Zambezi region a hotspot?
So Denver, yes, of course, geography and the Zambezi region itself makes it vulnerable. You know that the Zambezi region is sitting at the tip of our country in the northeast, far northeastern regions, and we are neighboring a number of other countries: Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana, to name just a few. So, if you are aware, Zambezi is mainly a transit for many of these crimes that are perpetrated either in our neighboring countries, and these products then find themselves en route to either shipping ports or other borders within the country. As you know, we have Walvis Bay as our main harbor. So a lot of intelligence that we gather through working with our operatives and counterparts in our neighboring countries leads to quite a lot of arrests. As you may have noticed, in the last couple of months, we've had quite some significant seizures of either elephant tusks or other products that are proceeds from illicit activity. So we keep our eyes and ears open. We have a number of informants within our communities. We have intelligence that we gather through our operatives and counterparts in the neighboring countries, and so we are quite awake to any would-be criminals or any products that will be transiting our country. As I said, Zambezi, because of its geographical setting, really criminals trying to take advantage of the routes there.
Indeed. Now, interesting stuff, man. I'm just wondering also now, you mentioned the coordination required, and that brings me to the question of how do you work with conservancies and lodges and law enforcement to ensure that this does become a coordinated regional effort rather than a once-off campaign, now that it's in the highlight that there's money coming through for informants. How do you ensure that this becomes a sustained, coordinated regional effort through the coordination?
So thanks for the question, Denver. What is important here to note is that the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism is implementing a strategy for the last 5 years, and it's called the Wildlife Protection and Law Enforcement Strategy of 2020 to 2025. This strategy identifies quite a number of strategic partners. As I mentioned before, we have NAMPO, we have the Namibia Defense Force, we have NAMRA, the Prosecutor General's Office, and a number of active players, including our own Wildlife Protection Unit within the ministry. So it's quite a coordinated approach, and this strategy identifies quite a number of partners in our neighboring countries as well. You may know that within country, about a year or two, we successfully launched the Wildlife Crimes Court at Oshuarongo, and that is mainly aimed at really fastening the pace of prosecution, eventual prosecution of wildlife crimes that may take place or have taken place over the years. Just to ensure that there is speedily processing and eventual prosecution of criminals. So these are some of the partners that we work with, but in terms of local communities, as I said, there are informants. We also have many tour operators and lodges who are partners in this endeavor. As you may know, that lodges depend mainly on tourism, and as criminals really mainly target rhinos for their horns, elephants for their tusks, pangolins for their skins, but also not limited to that is the increase in poaching of our Kahuura succulents, and some of them being endemic to our country. They are not found anywhere else in the world.
Sure.
So there's a collaboration in with many of these individuals as informants, but also our neighbors, being lodges and tour operators, countrywide really.